I will never forget that day. It slipped into my life through the smallest cracks of routine and ordinary morning. I stood by the window, observing a world I had learned to watch more than participate in. At 61, my life looked stable, but felt increasingly hollow inside. A quiet emptiness never seemed to leave. I often caught myself staring at my reflection, searching for traces of the younger woman I once was. This was my state before Jack entered my life. Jack, the delivery man. He was a passing figure in my routine, someone I saw briefly at my door when I ordered things I didn't truly need. Small excuses to hear the doorbell ring, to see a familiar face for a few seconds longer than necessary. Something about him stayed with me each time he left. His youth, his ease, his energy. I realized I had begun looking forward to his visits more than I should have. On the day everything changed, I stepped outside and saw him doing his rounds. Suddenly, his motorcycle skidded right in front of me and he fell hard onto the ground. My heart jumped into my throat as I ran toward him, seeing his scraped skin and tense breath. He tried to reassure me, insisting he was fine, even though it was obvious he wasn't. I refused to accept that answer, guiding him up despite his protests, insisting he come inside. Something protective inside me had taken over, stronger than caution or logic. Once inside my home, the atmosphere shifted. The space between us suddenly felt different. I fetched my first aid kit and began treating his injuries with trembling hands. Not from fear of the task, but from awareness of how close he was, how real he felt. As I cleaned his cuts, I noticed things. The strength in his arms, his softened expression. He kept thanking me, making me feel both needed and slightly unsettled. I wasn't used to being seen that way. When our hands accidentally brushed, the contact lingered, creating a silence heavier than words. When he finally spoke, his voice was softer, almost uncertain, as if he was seeing me differently too. I found myself admitting things I had buried for years. The loneliness, the feeling my life was too quiet. He listened in a way that made me feel visible again, not just an older woman, but someone understood. That recognition changed something between us, subtle but undeniable. He wasn't just a delivery man. When he mentioned his unstable living situation, a decision formed before I fully examined it. I surprised myself by offering him the small, unused apartment next to my house. His expression shifted into disbelief, gratitude, and hesitation all at once. But I had made up my mind. When he accepted, everything began to shift, as if my life had opened a door it could no longer close. The days that followed were filled with movement as he brought his things over. I found myself watching him, noticing details, the strength in his movements, the contrast with my quiet world. I felt something inside me waking up, something I had thought was long gone. One evening, I invited him and his friends to dinner, trying to keep things casual. But when his friends left and he stayed behind, the atmosphere deepened. Wine loosened conversation, turning simple words into something more personal, more revealing. He looked at me that night, not with indifference, but with attention that felt overwhelming. My voice softened, honesty slipped out. He responded with quiet sincerity, making my heart race. In that charged silence, something broke through restraint, a closeness forming that neither of us stepped away from. In a moment of emotional overflow, we leaned toward each other and shared a kiss, followed immediately by hesitation and realization. Reality always returns after such moments. I pulled back first, overwhelmed by what I had done. He followed gently, close enough to ignore nothing. In that space of uncertainty, we stood facing each other, aware that something had changed permanently. My life had shifted off its original path, no longer bound by repetition or silence. It opened into something unpredictable, fragile, and deeply human. Nothing in my world would ever feel the same again. Jack had entered the part of me that I thought had stopped living.